Hi, Majo John Madden in my vehicle, my camper van. Not Narwhal, that was my first camper van. This is Phoenix, rose from the ashes of Narwhal, 2000 Dodge Ram camper van, which I've always said in the year and a half that I've had this vehicle that I got a great deal because the guy behind me, a really nice, good, solid working guy on the west side of Chicago, Polish guy, had invested $5,500 in a rebuilt engine. So it had a new rebuilt engine. And then tragically, he had a terrible breakup in his marriage, and he was in shock and needed money. His older daughter needed a car. So he sold it to me for $5,000, which was the best really he could get on the market for such an old vehicle. But he had just invested $5,500 in an engine because he thought it was going to be their family vehicle, 4 kids, and then the breakup happened. So I told him, I wish I could give you $10,000, but I had a backer who was putting up $5,000 for me as the most I could do. So turns out that I've been saying for a year and a half, rebuilt engine is a great deal. But Joshua Josue, whose shop I am sitting in, and I've promised not to take videos of his property here because it's also his house and his dad's shop. So it just feels like a violation of privacy. Josue says, that engine maybe shouldn't have been rebuilt to begin with. It's really not in great shape, and there's a lot of things falling apart, and he's got to send it out to the machine shop. So I have access to the vehicle again. Today is Saturday of Easter weekend. He's aiming for Tuesday or Wednesday that it'll be drivable again. And the repairs would have been just impossibly expensive on the north side of the border and with a licensed mechanic. But with he's third generation, solid mechanic, really good, and he's not going to overcharge me at all. It's going to be like I gave him $700, which at this point only was covering the parts and the machine shop that he's sending it out to. He has not been paid for his labor yet. But he's going to let me take it, I'm pretty sure. And trust me that come my May check, I will pay the rest, and I sure as hell will. So that's where I am. I've started a series of videos about my old girlfriends. I'm quite the romantic. Everybody identifies me as a romantic and a lover of women, and theoretically a lover of men also because I've come out as bisexual, but I haven't acted on it yet. Up in Appalachia, I flirted. I'll tell the story sometime of the guy I came really close to something happening, but nothing has happened. And I'll always be 80 to 90% about women, but I have the potential, and I like it that now I love everybody. Or as in my coming out post, I ended up by saying now nobody's safe. But actually everybody's safe because I will not push my will. More important to love the person, and then if they also want sexual closeness, great, but not otherwise. But there was a period, I had a way young and way tormented marriage. We were terrible for each other in so many ways. And after 10 years, I finally let myself spring loose at 32. And I had 10 years of, not promiscuous, not Wilt Chamberlain or, everybody, hundreds of lovers. But once I counted, it was like 40, and most of them happened between 32 and 42, because at 42 I got diagnosed as bipolar and put on all these drugs, one of which had me completely impotent for so long, it was over a year. I thought I'd never have an erection again. But it all messed with my sense of self and my sexuality. And so my golden era was like 32 to 42. But this was after the golden era. This was after I already was on those drugs. Suffering with all of that stuff. Psychiatrically induced depression because I got depressed. They diagnosed me as clinically depressed because I was in the middle of a perfect storm of life challenges. And my last psychiatrist said, we never would diagnose a psychiatric disorder when somebody's life is in chaos like that. Although they do. You know, she maybe wouldn't, but they do big time because that's what they do. But Jadwiga, Jadwiga, was working as a nurse's aide at the rehab nursing home on the northwest side of Chicago, where my mom was after she had had her big heart attack, and we all knew she had 10 weeks to live. So I was visiting her a lot because it was in a period when I was in Chicago. I was visiting her a lot. And I would be in the dining hall sitting with my mom having dinner, and Jadwiga, recent Polish immigrant, I think she had been here just a few months, stunning, gorgeous. Oh my God, she was so beautiful. And she denied it. She didn't get it. She said, no, I'm normal. That's what she believed. But she was gorgeous. And she'd be over against the wall feeding the paraplegic patients. And we'd stare at each other. Oh, baby. Were we hot for each other? We'd just look. And I think the first words that got exchanged between us, besides hello, I'm walking my mom down the hall, and she's standing with a couple other nurses aides. The nurses were all Filipino, and the nurses aides were all Polish. And there was a big class, and the nurses aides were getting paid peanuts, and did not have English. Most of them. It was a point of pride because on the northwest side of Chicago, so many Polish. A lot of the big supermarkets, the big chain supermarkets, didn't even have English signs, just Polish. And her parents had been here a long time and never bothered learning English. And most of the other nurses' aides were not learning English and resented her because she was rolling up her sleeves. And back in Poland, she had been a prof at a nursing school. So here she was working as a nurse's aide. So I'm walking down the hall, and she's with a couple of the other nurses' aides. I say hi, and she says, hi. And I don't know which one of us said, what's your name? And we exchanged names. And her next question was, are you married? And then she immediately said, oh, it's a terrible question. No, sorry. And I said, no, it's a good question. You have a right to know. No, I'm not. Oh, are you? I asked her, and she says, yes. But she, in a way that said, but it's not a problem. And it wasn't, because she was still technically married, but she had ditched her husband back in Poland because he had an affair with her best friend. And she came here to create a new life and hopefully bring her kids here, which I don't think ever happened. By the time she got the money together and her life together and tried to bring her young daughter over, the daughter was so angry at her for abandoning the family that she wouldn't come. Broke Jadwiga's heart. Broke her heart. So we got involved. We started spending... She was so busy working full-time, taking English classes at night, and some other stuff to get her certification as a nurse here, and living with her parents. And I was living with my stepbrother in an apartment in Oak Park on the west side of Chicago. And neither place did we have any privacy. My brother seldom left the house except to go for his dialysis sessions 3 days a week. So we had no privacy. We had no place to do it, because we were hot for each other. Oh, my God. First kiss was in an underpass, like at Rush, one of the north side Chicago beaches, in the underpass. It was not a romantic setting, but boy, it was a romantic kiss. Oh, my God. And we would spend Sunday afternoons together. That was all the time she could squeeze out. This is going to be another video about Jadwiga. Make out. Oh my God. When I told her that she was the best kisser I'd ever experienced, she says, Polish women are the best kissers. She was really proud of being Polish and identified equally as European, and very proud to be European, and was very clear that American women had no class, did not know how to dress at all. This is so opposite of our stereotypes of Polish. At least mine in Chicago. Okay, that's enough for this video. Bye.